Rev it up and welcome to Cars Yeah, show number 1829. Today I'm in the beautiful country of Italy talking about hypercars, all electric hypercars. This is going to be fun.
This is Cars Yeah, where you'll enjoy interviews with inspiring automotive enthusiasts. Mark Green is here to provide you with a fuel injection of automotive inspiration. So get in, sit down, buckle up, and get ready for a wild ride here on Cars Yeah.
Hello, or I should say ciao, inspiring automotive enthusiasts. Buongiorno and welcome to Cars Yeah. Today I'm in Merano, Italy with a very special guest by the name of, well, his formal name is Gianfranco, but we're going to call him Franco Pizzuto. Franco, welcome to Cars Yeah. Do you have it in gear? And I usually say, are you ready to release the clutch, but no clutch today, right?
Everything is electric. Hello, Mark, and it's great to be with you today.
Well, we're going to have some fun. I mean, you're doing some amazing things. But before I give you a proper introduction, I would love for you to share one little thing that maybe most people don't know about you, Franco.
Well, yes, indeed. Actually, only a few very close friends know that my first job was not in the automotive industry, actually. I was doing agriculture machineries and tractors before getting into the electric vehicle arena, let's say. So, it's funny because it's a little bit like Mr. Lamborghini did,
Yes.
Lamborghini in the 60s, they were doing tractors, and then we know what Lamborghini is doing today. And by the way, the Lamborghini company, the tractor company, still exists as a brand. It's not the same family anymore. So yes, I have a similar heritage. So until late 2006, I was doing machinery, and I was doing great. And I used to live in Atlanta because we had very close operation with a very big name of the industry, which is an American brand. And that's the reason why, I literally changed my life, and I changed the industry back then.
Well, so you and Ferruccio have something in common.
Yes, but I tell you, I never owned a Ferrari. So I have no complaints to do to Ferrari, and I own Porsches, many Porsches before. Yeah, so we have something in common.
You and I are going to get along very nicely because that's always been my mark of choice. Let me give you a proper introduction. Franco Pizzuto is the Chief Executive Officer of Automobili Estrema. Estrema is a new player in the high-end electric vehicle arena with a team that has a proven record of experience and success. The brand represents the perfect blend of extremely different elements, innovation, and revolutionary technologies with the beautiful Italian styling and craftsmanship we all love. Together, they have created a new Italian car brand of design excellence, combining design, engineering, and manufacturing in a low-volume, zero-emission hypercar and supercar. Franco has over 30 years of international business experience. He is a visionary pioneer, an entrepreneur, a philanthropist, and a polyglot. His career has taken him around the globe, and he has worked with TUI in Germany, AGCO and Caterpillar in North America, as he mentioned, Yanmar in Japan, Valmet in Brazil, Jaguar Land Rover, Fisker Automotive, and many others. This guy has been everywhere. We'll be back in just a minute to talk with Franco, but first a word from our very valued sponsors. So keep your seat on. We're going to have some fun today. Stay put. We'll be right back. Did you know the most damaging thing to your vehicle's interior is the sun? Harsh UV rays damage your interior over time, cracking the dash, fading colors, and the heat makes getting into your favorite ride downright unbearable. My friends at Covercraft have the perfect solution for you and me. Their quality-made sunscreens are easy to use, take seconds to install and to remove, and they protect your vehicles while parked in the sun if using a cover isn't a good option. I have one for every one of my cars. They come in a variety of colors and options, and their accordion design makes unfolding and folding them up for storage as cool as the summer breeze. Your sunscreen comes custom-tailored for your special vehicles and manufactured with the quality and attention to detail that's been the standard for Covercraft since 1965. Here at Cars Yeah, I've got a savings just for you. Use the code YEAH21, that's YEAH 21 at covercraft.com and they'll give you 10% off your Covercraft order. That's right, 10% off. Simply use the code YEAH21 at checkout. Covercraft, protecting the things that move you. When it was time to renew my collector car policy, my carrier raised my rates by a lot. But why? My usage was the same, my car's value was the same, and I had never made a claim. I didn't even have a ticket. The only change was their rate, and they had no reason why. What's with that? I researched my options, I spoke to others, and with American Collectors Insurance is where I now have my policy. What a difference. A live person actually answers the phone. She spent time learning about me and my Porsche Turbo, the one I call my Orange Crush, and provided a reasonable quote. American Collectors Insurance now protects my special ride. I'm saving hundreds of dollars and I can sleep at night knowing my baby is properly insured. Why wait until your next premium is due? Give them a call today for your personal agreed value quote. Call 866 AC1 yeah, that's 866-224-9324. Tell them you're a friend of mine, Mark Green at Cars Yeah. American Collectors Insurance, classic car insurance designed by collectors for collectors, automotive enthusiasts just like you and me. That's American Collectors Insurance. All right, Franco, we are back. So let's dive a little deeper into the corner. I'd love for you to talk a bit about what you're doing here, and maybe we go back a little bit with your history of all these different brands, but then dive into Automobili Estrema. So take it away.
Yeah, well, you named a lot of companies that I was working over the last 30 years. So as you can imagine, I'm not that young anymore. Even, I think you are like me. We still feel being young, and
yes,
I'm full with passion and enthusiasm. And as long as we have this in common, I think we can still be young, at least feel young. Therefore, last year, as you know, everyone was at home with the first lockdown we experienced in Italy in early March of 2020. And everyone had other plans. And for the first time in our lives, we were somehow reduced of staying at home and not being able to travel, which was an incredible experience for me because I used to travel for the last 30 years, twice a month on, different continents, mainly Europe and North America, but also all the other continents. Mm-hmm. I had all kind of miles especially with one major international airline and all the benefits, as you know, and so forth. And then suddenly you're at home. Yeah. So basically that was the thing that was giving us the first spark of having Zoom calls. I barely knew before what Zoom actually was.
I think a few of us had never used those, although, I use Skype, so it's kind of the same thing, but yeah. Wow.
Yeah, indeed. So, somebody sent me invite over Zoom. What is this thing here? And then at least we could see each other,
Yes.
And then the group became bigger and bigger, and we said, okay, what are we going to do? One of these guys were former designers at Fisker Automotive that I knew from the past. And so we started to play a little bit with some sketches, and then we fall in love more and more into the sketches. And then we said, okay, let's have a try. Let's see if we can do a car out of the sketches, right?
Wow.
And it began, almost like playing all together. And then we're here as a company, and we have presented our first prototype, and we did all this barely seeing each other in real, because Alexander Klatt is in California, Gary Hughes is in England, Yannick Voss is in Denmark, Roberto Liva in Torino, myself in Merano, and all around the globe, but reunited thanks to the common passion. And we did it, and wow. We are here. And I think we accomplished with a serious car. And you have seen the pictures, and I hope you liked it.
Oh,
and,
yes, yeah. This is fascinating because I've talked to so many people, as I always do, and COVID affected so many people in a negative way. But in some ways, this transformation in life has brought on some new innovative thoughts. And what you guys are doing, a car born from COVID, which I don't even want to say that because Northern Italy was one of the hardest hit part of the country or the world when this COVID first hit. You guys were slammed and lost so many people, and it was so tragic. But from this cocooning we had to do, a butterfly has existed. And you guys have created Estrema, which is feminine, as I understand the language.
Yeah.
Why feminine? Where did that come from?
Yeah, because, la macchina in Italian is feminine. It's not like in English, the car.
Mm-hmm.
So actually, we give to beautiful things always a feminine name. And therefore, la bella macchina, the beautiful car, is like saying la bella donna, the beautiful woman. Same way. And that's the reason why we wanted to create this connection of a beautiful woman with a beautiful car. This is a little bit a romantic way of the Italians to see the car,
Yes.
We have a saying in Italy, which is donne e motori, gioie e dolori, which means women and motors are happiness and also bring you troubles. It's both. It can be both. It's and indeed, some of the listeners might say, yes, it's true. Of course, we love to see everything into the shape of a beautiful woman.
Yes.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
So you have all these nice details on the car, which remind a little bit of, let's say, Sophia Loren, very curvy woman, maybe today would not be successful anymore because, the shape of the women today are pretty, let's say, flat.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I definitely prefer the curvy style like in the cars.
Yes, absolutely. Well, I got to sit in thanks to our mutual friend, Raffaello Porro, who's a past guest here on Cars Yeah. Raffaello, grazie for putting me together with an amazing team. I'm going to be having Alexander Klatt, your head designer, on the show soon. Roberto's going to be on the show too. So you've brought together an incredible team of people to create this incredible car. So talk more about what this vehicle is, and we'll have links on the show notes page here for Franco so you can go and see their website. You've got to go check this out. But share as you can in a audio way, since we're not visual here, what this car is all about. It is incredible.
Yeah. First of all, we wanted to be a little bit different, not just to have another hypercar and be boring. That's the reason why also we have the name Estrema, which means in Italian extreme, but extreme in beauty and extreme in technology. And we think that technology has to be beautiful. We wanted to give a design language to the technology we have inside a car, which is basically a new type of batteries. We have cells, which are the so-called solid state cells, which means we don't have a liquid electrolyte. Therefore, the battery pack is smaller and it's about half the weight of normal electric car batteries. So this is what we wanted actually to create, a very fast lab on wheels, which is very beautiful and which will, have a lot of people talking about. And I think the Italian style also needed to be, outspoken by this phenomenal design. And we blended in all the cultures. And as you have heard from my team, which is very international, but somehow we all like the Dolce Vita style, the movie of the 60s where, this romantic figure of Italy as a nation where people knew how to have fun, even though they were pretty poor back then. But that doesn't mean that you are not happy. And this is all what we have packed is the Estrema Bellezza, okay, is extreme beauty that we wanted to represent and to pack with this amazing technology, which is, by the way, brought in by a partner and a friend of mine, which is a professor at the Brussels University. His name is Noshin Omar. He is originally from a country in the Middle East. And when he was little, he had to escape because of war with his family, and they moved to Belgium, where they grow up. So it's a very interesting story as well. So we are bringing everything together. We also have another friend which is specialized in packaging the battery cells into an incredible way, where is carbon fiber structure. We have all the best material we can use in this prototype. So Mark Lander, which is, he lives actually in Antalya, which is in Turkey. So you can imagine we have all these people from around the globe, but with one thing which are, focusing, which is the beauty of the car. Doing this estrema bellezza, this extreme beauty all together. We don't care from where you're coming from until, we share the same dream, we share the same vision, and we enjoy life. And we want to display this enjoyable way of being all together by presenting the car, packing all this amazing new technology. And also, it's a proof of concept, showing people that it's going to work. Right. Because there are always a lot of naysayers, as you can imagine.
Of course.
Well, we're here to say, it's possible. Someone before me, I think it was Walt Disney, said, if you can dream it, you can make it.
That's right. That's right. He sure did. And our listeners today know that what I've always said is we are the culmination of the people we surround ourselves with. And you have surrounded yourself with an incredible team. And I love this, the fact that they're from all over the world. So they bring all these different lifestyle and professional concepts with them into the design of this car and the production of the car. Absolutely brilliant. And that leads me to my next question, which has to do with inspiration. And I'd love for you to share what your driving inspirations have been, maybe a key mentor or mentors in your life, people that have been very influential. You've no doubt worked around some amazing people throughout a 30-plus year career. Is there somebody or maybe a few people you'd like to talk about?
For sure, especially, coming from another industry, I didn't know anything. By 2007, when I dived into this new industry, literally, which is the automotive industry, of course, as car enthusiast, I knew about cars, but I never worked in the industry because I was doing something different. I was doing machinery before. Therefore, I needed someone, and I met an amazing man, which back then was towards the end of his career, and his name is Victor, but known as Vic Doolan. And he was former CEO of BMW North America and also former CEO of Volvo North America. And he basically took me aside and said, okay, so the next couple of years you're going to stay with me because with Fisker Automotive, we launched a new company and we had to, set up all the dealers and the whole network sales and after sales network. And I knew how to do it with machineries. I didn't know how to do it with cars. I tell you honestly, there is not such a big difference. But there are differences, of course. And Vic and I, we traveled the world. So we traveled around North America and Europe, basically most of the time. We spent a long time together. I enjoyed that time together. I think there is between me and Vic, there is probably something like 15, 20 years of difference of being Vic older than me. And I really learned a lot. I take a lot of profit of being together with him. And of course, he was also like a door opener because we went to a lot of dealers, big dealers in Europe, and they knew him. And, then I was introduced by him. So that helped a lot. I don't think that I could be the one I am today without having had Victor Doolan with me. Like in France, they say chapeau, and I have to say chapeau to Vic. And I hope he's maybe listening to this program, and I hope he's happy that I mentioned him.
Well, of course, yeah. He was also back in the mid 2000s joined Sonic Automotive, I believe. He was the
Correct.
board of directors.
That's exactly that.
Yeah.
Yes. After Fisker, he joined Sonic Automotive. Yes, absolutely right. Yes.
Wow, what a fortunate thing to have someone like him. And I'm a big BMW fan as well as Porsche, and I've had many, well, not many, I've had 4 BMW M3s, and we've had X5s and Minis in our family. And so that's where I knew the name from. But what a fortunate guy you were to get to hang out with him and learn the ropes. Yeah, it's incredible.
Indeed. I had a real master. I have to say I had a real master.
No kidding. Wow. Very fortunate. If you were going to advise others to launch into producing, this is a big question here, Franco.
A
hypercar, supercar. Maybe what's 1 or 2 things you would tell them other than maybe run for the Dolomites?
First of all, you have to have lots of passion. More than money. Of course, money helps, but you need a lot of passion. You need to be prepared. You need to surround yourself with people that are better than you. Mm-hmm. I think the intelligent entrepreneur is the one that asks people being better than himself to join and help. Okay, yes. So I'm no designer, I'm no engineer, and therefore I need to have the best designer I can, and I have to take the best engineers I can, and they explain me how to do a car, because by myself I would not able to do it. So surround yourself with people that are better than you. I think this is the most important thing at all, and be provided with a huge amount of passion, and you have to be stubborn and never give up, because this helps as well.
Oh, absolutely. Well, that's perfect. Being a gentleman from Italy, if anything I've learned from all my travels to Italy is the Italian people are definitely passionate. That's for sure. Especially when it comes to their automobiles. Oh my, some of the most beautiful cars in the world come out of Italy. We're going to take a really short break. We come back, I'm going to talk about, or ask you to talk about, a big challenge in your career. So sit tight, keep the seatbelts on. We'll be right back. What began as a charitable car show has grown into the world's greatest collector car auctions, raising over $133 million for charitable organizations to date. For nearly 50 years, automotive enthusiasts from all over the world have enjoyed the Barrett-Jackson collector car auctions, and I'm a huge fan. Regarded as the barometer of the collector car industry, their auctions are world-class lifestyle events where thousands of the world's most sought-after, unique, and valuable automobiles cross the block in front of a global audience, in person, on TV, or streamed online. Barrett-Jackson produces the world's greatest collector car auctions in Scottsdale, Arizona, Palm Beach, Florida, Las Vegas, Nevada, and new for 2021, Houston, Texas. The excitement of Barrett-Jackson auctions is contagious, and a unique experience is not to be missed. And coming soon, something new for you Cars Yeah listeners. I'll be teaming up with Craig Jackson on the first ever Barrett-Jackson podcast, coming to your mobile devices every week. Listen here on Cars Yeah and check out the Barrett-Jackson website for unique details on this new, exciting podcast that I'm very proud to be a part of. And be sure to visit barrettjackson.com today. Barrett-Jackson, the world's greatest collector car auctions. So, Franco, let's talk about a big obstacle, big challenge. Now, this could be something relating to the new business you're involved in now or something in your past. The reason I ask this is more about how did that experience help you learn some things so that you can move forward in a positive way. So take us on maybe a little bit of a bumpy ride.
I had a couple of bumpy rides in my life, but I would like to speak about one in particular that was at the beginning of my career, when I started to produce the machineries, the agriculture machineries I was talking earlier. We were pretty much at the beginning of our careers, and we had a supplier that needed to weld some components. It needed to be really perfectly welded, but these weldings were a little bit high, so you couldn't see really if they were properly done or not.
Mm-hmm.
And this gentleman decided to save some time, and instead of doing proper welding, he did spot welding, because of course, if you do spot welding, it doesn't take much time.
Right.
And therefore, after painting the machine, you couldn't see if the welding were perfectly done or like he did, only spot welded, So what happened is that our machines were looking fantastic, like having the best machine in the world. We dispatched the machine all over the places, like for instance, in Sweden, and we landed in a very small island, which is between Denmark and Sweden. And this little island is called Bornholm. So we dispatched the machine there. And then the dealer I had there called me in the middle of the night and said, "Hey, Franco, your machine is exploded."
Oh my gosh.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, what? Exploded? What do you mean? Yeah. It broke apart and so on and so forth. So I had to fly to Copenhagen. I had to take a ferry boat from Denmark to Bornholm to get to this island. I met with this gentleman, and actually this gentleman didn't speak a single word of English. So I had my dealer translating back and forth, and at the end he was very, very upset because he spent so much money for the machine.
No
the machine
kidding.
was not lasting.
Yeah.
And we were at the very beginning of our career. So money was a serious issue. And I had to either find a solution and saying that it was his fault, which of course was not the proper thing to do, or I had to apologize and saying that in a way or another he would get a new machine replacing the one that was broken. Okay, so even though we knew back then that it might be not enough funds in our account to build another new machine, we took the risk and we did the new machine for the gentleman. And the gentleman, after receiving the machine, he was the biggest, customer we had, because the guy after that, he saw that we were honest, that we could know that the supplier didn't do properly the welding and so on and so forth. So he was enthusiastic about our reaction. And therefore, he decided to invest more and have more machinery, and was until recently one of the biggest customers in my past company. Yeah, and this was a lesson. And I tell you, the day this gentleman was calling me at night, I was crying because I said, okay, if we are messing this up, our company will go belly up. But it didn't happen. And I know that this former company of mine is still very successful.
Well, it's a wonderful story and a huge lesson for anybody in business to do the right thing. It may be the wrong thing from a financial standpoint, but to do the right thing, because look what happened in the end. And we've all had these experiences with companies that don't do the right thing, and we never do business with them again. And people have long memories. I remember my father buying a Pontiac when I was a little boy. It was a Le Mans model in the 60s, and he started calling it very quickly a Le Mans or Lemon because that car must have been built on a Friday during hunting season because nobody was paying attention, and the dealership, they would take it back and try to fix it, but they kept pawning off. And to this day, I remember that I would never, Pontiac's gone belly up, so it doesn't exist anymore, but I would never have bought a Pontiac because of that experience, just seeing what my father went through. And, he didn't have much money then, and it was a big deal to buy a new car like that. So yeah, you got to do the right thing, even when it costs you, even when you lose, you have to do the right thing to have customers for life. Incredible story, but incredibly valuable. Now, I always ask my guests about a big bucket list item. You're the kind of guy that the bucket is never ending, I think, because at this point in your life, maybe you could go off and sit on a porch, but I don't think you're the retiring kind of person. You've decided to take a bad situation and create this automobile. So if you look forward to, let's say, the next year or two, what are your dreams, your bucket list dreams for Estrema?
Well, yes, indeed it is. I have a bucket list, and on number one of the list, I have the production of Fulminia. The goal is to get the first Fulminia to the customer by the second half of 2023 and to sell like 20 cars a year. So in the course of the next years, we're aiming to have 60 cars produced and sold. And because I'm born in 1961, and 61 is a kind of magic number for me, the car number 61 will be my car.
Oh, wow. How cool is that?
But if we accomplish to sell 60 cars before.
Yes.
So,
yes.
There is no reason for me to drive a $2 million car if I'm not making money out of it, right?
Right.
I can't bankrupt the company because I want to have my personal Fulminia. So my goal and what I have in the bucket list is sell 60 cars. And number 61 is mine.
Nice. Well, that is quite a goal and quite an achievement that'll happen, no doubt. I think that's absolutely brilliant. We all have those magic numbers, and a lot of people like cars that are the year they were born. I was born in 58, and I've always wanted a 58 Speedster or a 550A Spider, or, just because, that's when I was created. So there you go. And talking about special vehicles, is there a special, you mentioned Porsche being a mark that you love, like I do. My listeners know that. They hear it ad nauseum. Is there a really special vehicle in your history of life? And what was it? And maybe share a story about that ride.
Well, yes, indeed. It was the 2007 when for the first time I met with Henrik Fisker. And back then he was in Irvine, where he has his, let's say, atelier, where he was actually starting with another company called Fisker Coach Build, where they changed some 6 Series Coupe, BMW, and I think it was the Mercedes SL back then. So they redid a little bit the design and the interior, so they made it more exclusive. And when I knew that they were working on something which were totally different, I needed to travel to California and meet back then Henrik and Barney, which was his other partner. And then he over a steak, I think it was on Newport Beach somewhere on the pier, on a steakhouse there. He said, okay, you have to come tomorrow to the showroom, to the atelier, and I will show you something that will be the future. So I in the next morning, I step in and I see a clay model, which was still with no paint, but it was the Karma in clay. So the brown, this brown color, no new color on top of it. So I just saw the shape, and it was not even completely done. It was, I think it was like half done, something like this. But you could see this dramatic proportion of the car. And I was like, it was like jaw dropping. Yeah. So I had just all my brain was getting so much, so much overload of design elements and everything. And I said to myself, this is the most beautiful car I have ever seen in my life, and I see it here. And it's not even ready. It's not even finished. It is just a clay model. So imagine how beautiful it will be when it will be in real. Okay, that was the most incredible experience I had, and I understand I had an incredible privilege to have experienced all that, because it doesn't happen in everybody's life to see a car from the very beginning where nobody still know that this car exists. Wow. And I am fortunate enough to be here in the second wave of my life, in the automotive experience that I'm having right now with Fulminea, and I see this from the very beginning, from the very sketch. So I think I feel really fortunate to have this kind of experience.
No kidding. Wow. That is cool. I remember seeing my first Fisker. I had moved up here to the Northwest, but I had lived for a while in Del Mar, California, just north of San Diego. And we were back in Del Mar visiting friends. And one came down the street and stopped, and I crossed this crosswalk in front of it and stopped and just stared at the guy. And he had a big smile on his face. And, they made that very interesting sound. that those cars had built into them so that you could hear them because they were,
Yeah.
silent. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, that is pretty darn cool. Well, I'm going to crawl into your head. We're going to get a little creative here, Franco. If you were manifest as a vehicle, now this isn't what you want to be. This is your perception of yourself as a human being manifest into a vehicle. What would Franco Pizzuto be? But more importantly, why?
This is funny because I'm, since 15 years, I'm considered one of the Italian pioneers of the electric mobility. Mm-hmm. And this is surprising for many, but I wasn't born in the electric era. I wasn't born in the area of, having batteries propelling our cars. I was born like you in the gasoline era. Yes. And for me, where I see myself as a car is, and I tell you exactly the model and the reason why, it is the 911 964 Carrera 4. Okay. This is the most amazing car I ever had, I ever owned in my life. Unfortunately, I know it now. I didn't keep the car back then. I had the car probably 6 or 7 years, something like that. And then I sold it. And that was the most stupid move I did because the 964, it was a 1989 model with the square side mirrors, not the rounded one, and the car was light. It had enough power. It's not a dramatic, it was only 250 horsepower, but it was enough. Yeah. It had 4-wheel drive. In the winter, the most amazing safe car at all. And I felt myself in a perfect environment. It was like it was part of myself. I felt when I was sitting on the leather seats. Of course, I had wonderful leather seats. I felt myself to be glued with the car and one like a glove. This kind of feeling I had never again with, this kind of relation. Beautiful car, perfect cars, but sometimes too perfect. The 964 was still with the ABS, but not loaded with electronics. Right. It was still a lot of mechanic components there. And I could bring, back then I had 2 kids. I have 3 kids in total, but back then I had 2 kids. And I could use the car as an everyday driver. I was going to work. I was bringing my kids to kindergarten, one, to school, the other one. I had my wife with me. We were 4 people. We could take a ride, all the 4 of us, and be in a very special car. This was, if I could be a car, I would be my former 964 Carrera 4, the C4.
Yeah. See, that's why I like you so much, Franco. We get along great here. I had a 91. Mine was a Carrera 2. Of course, that 89 was that unique one time where they came out with that, and that evolved later into a 993 I had, C4S. But my 91 I bought was my daily driver for 10 years. I love that car. I put the RS America mirrors on it with the cup wheels and took the car to the track, and wasn't the 4 like yours, but just love that car, miss that car. Had a special exhaust on it that sounded just so sweet. So I like it. And I like your description too. That worked really, really well. I found that successful people always give back to help others. Are there some ways that you help others in the automotive sector to achieve their goals?
Indeed, I love young people because I still think I'm young myself. So
we all
love
do.
Yeah, I know. But then suddenly you realize that, these guys are all being like kids for you. I mean, it could be your children. Yes. But what I love is to stay with students. So, for instance, I love to give speech at universities, at colleges. And of course, I like to help someone with a special talent, or also not so much talent, but a lot of will to enter the automotive industry, which is very, very difficult. And it happened just recently. It was a couple of months ago that someone from Uruguay with Italian roots, a young man by the name of Luca, contacted me and asked me if he could do something that he needed for university and so on and so forth.
Nice.
And I gave him the chance right away. And, I cannot, as you can imagine, I cannot help everyone, but I try to help at least one student per year that I can take and I can present. For instance, Luca is now working with an amazing car designer, which you know very well, which is Alexander Klatt.
Yes.
And Alexander Klatt told me that I have selected in a reality a very talented young man.
Nice.
That means that this Luca that contacted me over from Uruguay might be the next Alexander Klatt.
Wow.
So you see,
Cool.
this is what I really love, with hang out with the young people and find the talent and give them the chance to become somebody.
Well, it's wonderful. And my listeners know that my charity of choice is Tech Force Foundation, which helps young people get into the automotive world. We're going to give them a quick listen here, a little ad spot for them. And we come back, I'm going to ask you about a great book. And you and I are going to take the ultimate drive. So sit tight. We'll be right back. Cars Yeah is proud to support our veterans, which is why I've teamed up with our nonprofit partner, Tech Force Foundation, through its Veterans at Work Military Transition Campaign. The tech shortage is very real, and our country needs skilled, qualified techs to keep our cars, trucks, airplanes, and fleets rolling. When so many vets build their skills in maintaining and servicing vehicles when deployed, TechForce helps transition those skills to jobs as professional technicians when they come home. Learn more about TechForce Foundation and its Veterans at Work Military Transition Fund at techforce.org today. So let's talk a little bit about great reading. Is there do you get any time these days in your busy life to sit down and enjoy a great book? And if so, is there one you'd like to recommend?
Yeah, and usually, I'm reading the book either when I'm in the train, since COVID striked and, the travel was limited, air travel was almost zero. And then we started again to discover the train, So
Yes.
When you're on the train, you don't have to drive yourself. And I usually have a drive which is from my next town where we have the fast train, the so-called Frecciarossa, which goes from Bolzano to Milan or from Bolzano to Rome. And it is very comfortable. And that's the moment I usually read a book. And recently I met a lady, which is Dr. Angelika Sodian. I think she's German-Austrian from origin, but she lives now in the UK, and she traveled all over the world, especially between Europe and China, and she knows China very, very well. And I have received a very interesting book from her, which she was writing, I think, a couple of years ago, which is In the Year of the Tiger. And it's talking about China, and it says why it is not too late to learn from China. We know how dramatic also the economics are because of COVID-19, and someone is of course saying it's all because of China and blah blah blah. And I don't think it is the right way to see how the economic and how our world is changing. I think we have to learn from each other. And I think we have good and bad is everywhere. It's not that we, the Western, are the good ones and the ones in Asia are the bad ones. I think it is something in the middle. Okay, we carry out both things, the good and the bad. And this book helped me a lot to understand mentality, because I'm born where for everyone in Europe, or every young boy in Europe, we had this idea of having the American dream. Okay.
Uh-huh.
And maybe today the young people might need to think about having a China dream, a Chinese dream, because China is such a leading country with technology and manufacturing capacity, and where we used to have everything related made in China being cheap, okay? And now we see high-end products coming from China, especially in the automotive world, especially in the electric automotive world, with a lot of innovations and so on and so forth. And this book helped me a lot to understand why Chinese are the way they are, we know little. People in your age, in my age, know really little about China.
Right.
And this was very helpful to me. So I want to say thank you to Angelica that offered me. That was a nice present of her. I have also a nice signature edition from her.
Nice,
and
nice.
This is something I would suggest in our industry if someone wants to understand better the Western towards the Chinese mentality, the differences, and why they do some decision in this way rather than in the Western way.
Oh, fascinating.
So this would be my recommendation for our listeners.
Well, I appreciate you sharing that, and I'll make sure I put that link on Franco's show notes page. Dr. Angelica Sodian, Sodian, In the Year of the Tiger. Fascinating read. Always good to learn more about all the people of the world, to see how their thought process goes and how it's going. That's the first time that book's been recommended. So we're going to go on the ultimate drive here, Franco, and you get to choose the vehicle. You get to choose who you're with and who's driving and what are you going to be talking about. So in your mind's eye, what is this ultimate drive all about? So take the wheel.
I'm taking the wheel, and I definitely want my 964 Porsche back again. I don't know where it landed, actually, somewhere in Germany, probably. So this is what I would like to have back, to have this feeling back again, and this typical noise of the flat six, which I really love. And with me, I want to have my wife, Sylvia. The reason why is that we are together this year, 30 years.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you very much. But she's always joking with me, saying that at the end, we probably spent not more than 10 years together because I was
of your travels. Yes.
Exactly.
Maybe that's why the marriage works so well, Franco.
Exactly. She says exactly the same thing. She says that our marriage is so good because I'm never at home. And
sounds like my wife.
Yeah, there is no fight. So, but despite all the jokes, I really didn't spend much time with her. And then we had also the kids growing up. And I appreciate what she did for me because she was the cornerstone of our family, where the kids knew she was always there because daddy is, going around the world. Yeah. And she backed me also in the difficult times when we had really, really tough, also from the economical point, where I lost a lot of money in this industry. But she never gave up on me, and she backed me, and she said, you will be back. You are strong. You have to do, you just listen to your gut feeling, what your gut feeling is doing. So really I ride with her, just her with me, and me telling her how much I really appreciate her. Because during the normal time, you never get really to talk with your wife.
Understood.
And I think, ideally going another wonderful road, which I love, is PCH number 1.
Yes.
And I really love the way you go, when you come close to Crystal Cove, before Laguna Beach, and you see the ocean. You don't see so many villas and not so many other kind of buildings, but you see the white ocean and the cliffs. And I think of myself, actually, I would like to have, the convertible. In this case, the 960, not the coupe, but the convertible.
The cabriolet,
so the cabriolet, you open up the roof, and then you have all, my wife, she still has wonderful long blonde hair. She's German. She's from Munich. So I would like to see her like being in her 20s, and enjoying the ride with her.
Top down and wind in the hair. Yeah,
exactly.
That paints a wonderful picture. I drove as a daily driver when I lived in Southern California, a 1984 Cabriolet Porsche. I once went 300 days without putting the top up on that car, driving it to work.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, which I couldn't do it. I couldn't do that up here in the Pacific Northwest.
Oh, no. 300 days top down. That's
yeah, pretty amazing. Cool. But, well, that sounds like a wonderful, wonderful drive. That would be absolutely brilliant. Well, you've taken us on a wonderful drive today, and I want to thank you for calling in from Italy and spending some time with me today and sharing this amazing new vehicle. Again, listeners, you can go to Franco's show notes page on the Cars Yeah website, see a picture of this vehicle. Go to their website. I've got links there. Check it out. What's coming is something that is new and absolutely incredible. I can't wait to see one in real life. Before I let you go, would you share maybe a parting word of wisdom or advice with our listeners today?
Yeah, I think what is important is to stay humble no matter how successful you are in life. Just stay humble because you never know what's going to happen. You might need someone, and it is easier to ask for help if you kept a lower profile and maybe you don't sound too arrogant. Sometimes, people tend to be successful, and as more they are successful, as more they become arrogant sometimes. And, that's the reason why I'm saying stay humble. And then, like they used to say in the ancient Rome, per aspera ad astra, which means you can go to the stars through difficulties. So it's difficult. We know it's difficult, but you can reach the stars. Therefore, you have to keep going. You have to keep working hard, and then eventually you're getting there where you like to be, which is in the stars. So nice. I say it again, per aspera ad astra.
I love it. It's beautiful. And your comments about being humble remind me of a great quote by Walter Winchell. Be kind to everyone on the way up. You'll meet the same people on the way down.
That's so true. That's so true. Yeah.
So I would assume the best way for people to learn more about your new business is Automobili Estrema.it, correct? Is that your website?
Yes, that's it. We have both. We have .it, .com, so either way works.
Okay, great. I'll make sure I put links on Franco's show notes page. Just go to carsyeah.com, type in Franco Pizzuto, Pizzuto, and you'll find out. And again, a nice shout out and a thank you. Grazie to Raffaello Porro, Studio RPR. He's been a past guest here on Cars Yeah, been a friend of mine. In fact, I introduced Raffaello to Pebble Beach Concours. He got to go to this first one with me. We attended Dawn Patrol together at 4:30 in the morning. So Raffaello and I shared some good times together during Car Week a few years ago. Franco, thank you for being so generous today with your time and your expertise and for sharing your amazing life with us. Until you and I talk again, my friend, I'll see you down the road.
Thank you, Mark. It was a pleasure.
Grazie. Ciao, ciao.
Ciao, ciao.
I've discovered Linkage. It's a new quarterly publication and website that covers the automotive market, driving, restoring, collecting, and discovering your passion for motor vehicles. Linkage is about experiences, opinions, and values. Linkage is an actual informed, reasoned opinion based on first-hand experiences. A talented Linkage team covers the automotive world, the people who share your passion and mine, smart, considered, rational, and experienced opinions, ones you can learn from and grow. That includes our passion that drives auctions and the collector car market. So come with me and join us on this journey. And be sure to use the code CARSYEAH when you're subscribing, and they'll give you $10 off. Linkage, geared for the automotive life. Subscribe today at linkagemag.com.
Thank you so much for joining us on today's ride here at Cars Yeah. Drive on over to carsyeah.com to find show notes and inspiring automotive fun. Download your free copy of Filler Up, a fun book filled with gorgeous photographs of fuel filler fun, including quotes from more inspiring automotive enthusiasts. Download your copy today, and we'll see you next time on Cars Yeah.